The concept of sourcing empty containers off pier is not new. Articles have been written about the subject for over 10 years. For instance, opposite this video on the H.C. Bennett website is a link to an Inbound Logistics January 2007 article touting the benefits of an effective street turn program. The issues that commonly impede the successful launching of such a program are addressed in the concept being presented here. After an import container is unloaded, it is extremely rare that the drayman will be able to load the empty container with an export load. Instead, the import drayman must go through the time and expense of returning the empty to the marine terminal or to an appointed container yard. What if an online posting could match that empty container with an export booking that requires the same steamship line and container size? Who benefits? Draymen reduce deadhead miles with revenue-producing loads. Marine terminal gate transactions are reduced. Forwarders offer lower drayage rates to their export customers. And the Maryland Port Administration could attract cargo that is currently moving through other ports. In an ideal world, competitors could work together to build a bigger pie of business in which all participants benefit. If import draymen could fluidly transfer empty containers and their chassis to export draymen, an empty container exchange program could match available empties with pending bookings. Listed are among the reasons cooperation among competing draymen would likely not work. For instance, between a known date range, the drayman is moving two 40-foot import evergreen standards to zip code 17307. Using the online platform, the import drayman could post the availability of two evergreen 40-footers at zip code 17307 during the known date range. This information is posted on the program's website. Exporters or freight forwarders that book a 40-foot standard with evergreen peruse the program's website to research if 40-foot evergreen empties can be sourced outside the marine terminal. If there is an overlap of the export booking's load date range with the available import unloadings, there is an opportunity for a street turn. The drayman quotes the export dray, and a deal may be consummated. The platform is a database program. Available import container information by steamship line is collected from the import drayman's input. Pending export data is input by the freight forwarder. Here we can view the demo. Here's the home page of the online platform. Usually, draymen and freight forwarders would register. To get started, first open the program registration. Here's a drayman's pertinent information. The contact list shows specifically which company employees could be involved in communicating postings on the platform. Drayage companies would list their interchange agreements to verify steamship line eligibility. The program administrator assigns the program participant number. The import drayman would select this button to fill in the detail of their postings. In this example, the import container would be unloaded at zip code 17307, which is Biglerville, Pennsylvania, which would be considered the York, Hanover, Harrisburg region, during a date range of 8/5 to 8/7. Note the drop downs make it easy. Here are all the Baltimore steamship lines, container sizes, that sort of thing. The information input is submitted to the administrator, who assigns an import reference number. In this case, 1013 is assigned, which will later show up on the available container map. The freight forwarder would select this available containers button to view possible matches of sourcing empties. Assume an exporter, or his freight forwarder, is researching if an empty container could be sourced within the region a pending booking will be loaded. In this example, a load of paper products is to be loaded in a 40-foot evergreen standard container between August 4th and 6th at zip code 17354, which is Spring Grove, Pennsylvania. First, you would input the region. Note a map appears for York, Hanover, Harrisburg. If you were to change this to, say, Reading, Lancaster, another map would show up. Next, input the container size, 40-foot standard, and steamship line. From that, you can see there's import reference 1005 and 10013. To see this on the map, note that 1005 is Emmetsville, 1013 is Biglerville, which is the one that we illustrated the import input, and the loading would be taking place in Spring Grove. So both of these could be possibilities for the forwarder to explore. The details of import reference 1013 can be opened by clicking here. Only the top portion confirms what the import drayman had previously put in. Then you notice at the bottom it says, to the import drayman, we have a booking in the same container size as your import steamship line, as your import delivery. And then the pertinent information about the booking is shown here in yellow. The forwarder's inquiry is then submitted as a request to quote to the drayman. Note on the part, this is the salutation saying it's going to this import drayman, involved with reference number 1013, when the quote's needed by, and then the request is made by this particular freight forwarder. Down here is the recap of the forwarder's booking information, when they want to load it. Down here, under export dray quote using the same container as import reference number shown, the drayman would quote the now export dray using the same empty container from that import unloading in Biglerville. Then it would be submitted back to the freight forwarder for consideration. If both parties agree, and then a deal could be consummated. And therefore, the import drayman has found a load to return to the marine terminal without coming back empty. Back to the home page. Note there are two other buttons: forwarder RFB input and available bookings. Although the main thrust of the program is for import draymen to advertise the availability of empty containers that match the booking criteria required, the program also offers the ability for the freight forwarder to put out a request for bid to the drayage community. By opening the forwarder RFB input detail, the forwarder can input the particulars of their booking. After completing this form, the submission goes to the program administrator. The inquiry number is automatically generated here. In this example, electrical components are planned to be loaded at zip code 17557, which is New Holland, Pennsylvania, between the dates of August 20th and August 23rd. The program administrator inserts the posting details on the applicable regional map. For example, the Reading-Lancaster map and posting number 7 applies in this case. The import drayman would then use available bookings to search for possible bookings that match. After inputting the container size and steamship line, the available bookings appear. In this case, posting number 7 on the map is near New Holland, Pennsylvania. By opening the detail, the forwarder's booking information appears on the top of the screen. In the section below, the drayman can input their quote for the RFB and submit it back to the forwarder, who made the posting as an email attachment. If the quote looks favorable, the parties can contact each other to consummate a deal. As illustrated, this procedure is simple for draymen and forwarders to use. The role of the neutral administrator is limited to assigning reference numbers and inserting links to the applicable regional maps. So the program pretty much works on its own. Although not envisioned for the start of this program, all the import data could be derived as an addendum showing the container unloading date range and zip code location to the entry release provided by the customs broker to the steamship line. Available export booking data could be extracted from steamship line data without revealing proprietary information. If this concept could be of benefit to you, the viewer of this presentation, here are some suggestions to make it operational. The design of the software would not be that extensive to develop and can be maintained at a very low cost. The possibilities of naming an administrator could involve the Maryland Port Administration. Existing IT employees could write the software and establish the website, which could be an addendum to the Port of Baltimore site. This program could reduce the cost of drayage through the port, thereby shifting business from competing ports. MPA Salesforce is in touch with all the forwarders, exporters, and draymen to encourage use of the program. Or Ports America Chesapeake. This organization is a service provider to the port and doesn't compete with any of the prospective program users. If the program expanded by extracting import unloading information from customs entry release data, the stevedore is already interfaced with most of the container lines. Similarly, the stevedore works for most of the container shipping lines that will be booked. H.C. Bennett Company, the author of this presentation and advocate to facilitate lower drayage costs, particularly for freight moving from HCB's primary consolidation warehouse in York, Pennsylvania. As a means to get this program off the ground, assuming the interest substantiates, H.C. Bennett is willing to underwrite the cost of the software design and implement the website for the regions in central Pennsylvania. This would provide a starting point to inaugurate the program pending the appointment of the overall administrator for all regions surrounding the Port of Baltimore. The goal is to bring a bigger pie of business to the Port of Baltimore through lower costs and improve the profit margin of Baltimore's draymen. Giving draymen more opportunities to participate in a street turn program makes sense for all parties involved. The technology is available to assist draymen to fill empties with paying loads, reduce port congestion, and reduce drayage costs for Baltimore shippers. If you're viewing this presentation on the HCB website, complete the feedback form opposite this video. Your input will determine if it is feasible to launch this program.